This summer, Everton are heading over to the United States on a pre-season tour and are playing Adrian Heath's Minnesota United. If you're going to attend that game, head on over to mnufc.com to purchase your tickets. Use the promotion code COYB22 and we'll see you there. Mid-drink there.
I was mid-drink.
Okay.
I was expecting an intro.
Oh, okay. Well, the intro was obviously the advert for Minnesota.
I know, but I can't hear it.
Oh, of course.
I've got the timings of the other one sorted.
Okay, welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Everton Live Daily. It's Friday. That Friday feeling.
Friday.
Gotta get down. Mustafa, get that on. Mustafa. And all that. Yeah, there you go. It's, we need Ned to do that dance actually when we're in America. Martin.
I like the idea of doing the other one where the fellas opens the car door and dances outside.
That's it.
That's what I'm saying. And I like the idea of just driving away.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, on like the travelators in the airport with like Ned has to go alongside us doing the moose and we're just on the him and Cam. And if he can keep up doing it the whole way.
I actually did that on the way to my wedding in City Walks, right?
What, you invented that dance?
But it was but we were doing I want it now. Because it works brilliant on a travelator doing that.
It does.
In
City Walk? You're giving it that, yeah?
Yeah. With me kilt on, going to my wedding. And everyone was like,
who's this dude?
Who's this lucky lady marrying this guy? He's got the moves.
Did you have the moves like Jagger?
I wouldn't want the moves like Jagger. No.
You would though, 78 or something, still being able to go doing them dancing.
That's arthritis, I think. Stories just dropped that Peter Kenyon's led consortium or group is ready to inject £1 billion into Everton's stadium and transfers. It's been reported in the Telegraph. Again, don't know how much substance there is to this story, but I suppose, see, to me that sounds like you're trying to prove every day how strong your bid is, and it's like, these people are starting to think I'm not the real tell them we've got $1 billion to spend, you know what I mean? It's getting a bit like it's dead easy to say stuff like that, isn't it? But
do you think it's becoming a bit Vita Pereira, the Vita Pereira of consortium bids?
I don't know, because ultimately, I mean, if he turns up and he's on the couch, yeah, I can understand that. If one day we walk in and he's sitting here, but obviously we've heard this week that the day before, that he's had a tour, or they've had a tour of Finch Farm, and had a tour of Bramley Moor Dock and all this kind of thing, and I don't know what. To be fair, because I'm not in. We had John Blaney last week, and you spoke to David Maddoxon. A lot of people always say, the ones who are shouting loudest aren't the serious ones. It's the ones behind the scenes who are doing it covertly. They're the ones who normally are normally going to come in. And I don't quite understand what, because obviously this kind of stuff will have been leaked by someone close to this group. These are not lies that the newspapers made up. Someone has told them these things. Someone has said to leaked them these things, and I don't always understand why though. Like what's the benefit of that? Like, I understand, stories going in newspapers and things like that about players to unsettle them or maybe put pressure on a football club. Would a story like this really put pressure on Farhad Moshiri? Are Everton fans sitting there reading that going, you must sell to Farhad Moshiri? I mean, Farhad Moshiri doesn't listen to Everton fans at the best of times. I mean, don't get me wrong, he has occasionally. I mean, maybe Peter Kenyon just needs to go and put some bed sheets out or spray paint side of Goodison if he really wants to get some kinds of moves on this. But it is all a bit weird, isn't it? It's a multi-million pound takeover, probably in the region of 400 million to 600 million, say. There's a stadium there to be built, and you're going around newspapers shouting about it. That what other business would that actually happen in? I'm taking over Greg's, and we're gonna.
It is, it does seem a bit weird. You know, because what is going on? If you're genuinely serious about it, why are you conducting all of this through the newspapers? Although, that being said, some of this kind of stuff did go on with Chelsea as well. Ted Bowley, before he got it, was we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, and so did a couple of others.
But the difference I would say with Ted Bowley, and I'm not disagreeing with you by any means, but when the Chelsea one was on, it was there was more than one party, and all those parties were out in public in terms of like, because it felt like, because they were all vying, it was a very high profile story. It involved more than just the takeover of football club. It's seen the exodus of an oligarch and all that. So it had multiple connotations, and I know this does to a degree because of Mercedes links to USM and stuff. It that's what's strange. It's like that was a news story. I think they're different. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's a news story. It was like,
this is though. Really?
No, I understand that, but Chelsea were up for sale in terms of they had to be bought. They had to be bought, didn't they?
Yeah.
If they didn't get bought by a certain date, the Premier League could have just gone, "You're out." I mean, that never would have happened. No. But they were basically state owned. They were state owned for a period of time. So it felt like that was almost like a public interest story. I always find it weird when stories like this come out, because it's like, well, what are the reasons for going public? This could all be getting done very quietly in the background. Why have you gone public with the story?
No, it is. John Blaine said the same thing, hasn't he? And is it to convince? Is it because they think Evertonians will put pressure on Mashiri to sell? I don't know. Is it someone? I mean, Terry McAllister says Billy Lyon must really want another group to put in a bid because he's leaking like a sieve over this. Is that coming from internal leaks where they're not exactly delighted with this group, and they're thinking, well, listen, you know, this is moving now, so we need to put it out there that if anyone's interested. It doesn't seem like that to me, because it seems like it's coming from Kenyon. But I don't know, because if they're genuine, what's the point, right, in going, I'm going to buy that car, I'm going to buy that car, I tell you, I'm buying that car, and I've got £120 to put in it to fill the petrol. It used to cost 30, but now it's 120 quid to fill it up. If you're not going to buy the car, do you know what I mean? You can go with interest in buying Everton, and then that story goes, and then you go, you know what? We had a look at the books and we looked at the price and we've decided to walk away. This doesn't seem like that either now. It seems like they're going, we are buying it. We're buying it. Are they just showmen trying to be like big brash? America, and to be fair, it's not really the Americans who've been quoted, by the way, it's Kenyon. But are they just going, look, we are buying it and we're telling you we're buying it and we're coming? We don't know, and that's the problem. We just don't know.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not dismissing any of it, and I'm also not
buying into any of it.
Buying into it, I just find it's just a very interesting story. It's just like, it went away for a few days, and there was all these. We sat down with John and we spoke about it. There's a lot of contradictory language, exclusive periods, but early stages, and all this kind of thing. And now they're saying, the report from 2 days ago was that the exclusivity deal was almost over. But they had the tour.
Maybe that's why. Maybe the exclusivity deal ended yesterday, and maybe they're bouncing, they're putting their chest out now, going, we're buying it, because maybe they do think that someone else has come. I mean, John's seems to think that there's strong interest from elsewhere. We've heard that as well. David Maddock told us that as well, on air and off air. Others have been told similar. We all scoffed at Richie Keys 3 months ago, but
I never scoffed. I just ignored.
Yeah. Well, I messaged him, didn't I? I went, what's this? And he said, believe me, there's 3 or 4 groups interested, and one from this area was one of the things he said. That's not come to the fore, because no one said anything about it. But if there really genuinely is there, I'm far up Mashiri. But I took that to believe, because we've been told that was very much, I'm looking to get someone else in because of what's up.
Do you think then this might be like that? Maybe there is another group in who are out there who obviously Peter Kenyon would be aware of, because I think you'd have to be aware of.
Yeah, you need to know your competitors. Right?
So therefore, this might be a case of, well, if we go public and we get people on our side, then we put stories out there of £1 billion, the stadium transfers, all the rest of it. Yeah. When it comes to the crunch, very much like like you've just mentioned, Vitor Pereira and that kind of thing, is that the fan base will be won over by, because we've already told them what we're doing, and we've already told them who all the players are, and it won't be a shock to anyone. Do you think there might be a part in that?
I think there could be a part of trying to get some groundswell behind them. The problem is football fans are dead fickle. So Peter Kenyon comes out and goes, we're committed to building a stadium, we're committed to supporting Frank Lampard, we're putting hundreds of millions of pounds into this football team. And everyone's like, we're going to put a big new board in, and everyone's going, salivating, this is great, this is what we've always wanted. And then some Qatari fella comes and goes, I've got 200 billion to spend and I want to put everyone will go, see you Pete, straight to the Qatar. Wouldn't it that? Because that's what football fans are like, because we'd look and go, they look a better deal than he does. Would you think that might be then, alright then, would maybe... I'm saying there is maybe, that.
Okay, would you think maybe what it is then, if he puts pressure and goes through the media, he'll get a quick sale?
Yeah, that's what I think it is. Because that can be to me, it's not like there's 3 football clubs for sale in the Premier League and the trying to draw someone else out to go, buy us instead. It doesn't seem to be that way. All the stuff David Maddox said in that interview, if you haven't watched it, it's there, go and have a look at it if you've missed it, but all the stuff he was saying was buying into a lot of stuff what John Blaine had said, and I've seen and I've seen Kieran Maguire saying a similar thing, is that the Premier League's only going one way. And it's that way because more and more countries are buying it. It's going up. The interest in it's high. And for these clubs, for these American consortiums, definitely. NFL clubs are hugely expensive. But
they never come up for sale.
No, they don't come up for sale, and they're hugely expensive, and they're not really.
And in fact, if they do come up for sale, it's normally the lesser ones, and then what did they do with the lesser ones? They moved them anyway. Moved them to a better market.
So what they're saying is the Premier League is the market, and obviously there's Champions League on the back of that, and there's other stuff, Super Leagues, because who knows, the Super League might come back with 2 divisions, and they're guaranteeing you this money and that money, and teams just go, actually, yeah, we'll go and play there instead, whatever. So these owners, don't forget, a lot of them have analysts and forecasters, and all the analysts are saying is, this is going this way. Do you buy in now? 500 million, and you get a new stadium, which by the way the football club is paying for over the next 30 years.
That's where you leverage the debt, isn't it?
And then you've got that, and then you're going that way in a market which is going that way. And if you put the right people in, you can make that football club money, which means makes you money as well, which means prestige and everything else, blah blah blah. And you do that anyway, even if you're going to flip the club. But still do it.
Also, like it got mentioned, and I think you and John spoke about it yesterday, is that if these did come in and buy the football club, and they have got real estate people involved. There's a nice chunk of land next to that stadium, right next to it at the moment, which has got nothing on it. Which Peel,
isn't that next dock up for sale as well?
Yeah, it's all available. It's all available. Peel want it all full. It's gonna be full. If you own Everton, and you then control the plans for the stadium, so you know what is in there and what isn't in there, and on the next piece of land you go, that's our hotel, that's our restaurant, we own that. You're managing the whole thing. You say, okay, on a match day, if you don't want to come to our fan zone, well, just there's going to be our restaurants and our pubs and our wine bars and our whatever else.
You could, if you were
if you were
clever, and these fellas are clever, you could turn that next dock into like a retail village, like a stuff where something like hotels.
You want to put an Asda there?
No, I don't mean it like that. What I mean is you've got like a couple of hotels or whatever. You've got bars, restaurants, paved area, like a little, almost a bit like I guess a little bit like the Baltic Triangle type thing, but the football club owns it, or the owners own it as well. And so you get money dripping in from everywhere. But also you're attracting people when there's no matches into that area, and then the stadiums, they get them to the stadium.
How much do you think the Glazers regret not buying hotel football?
Oh yeah, hugely.
And that's one little thing.
Hugely. Gary Neville doesn't regret it, I don't think. But.
Exactly. So if a real estate guy came in and was like, not only are we getting this stadium, but right next to it, we can put whatever we want there.
On the Liverpool waterfront.
Right there on the waterfront. So people are going to get attracted in by this stadium. And right next to it, we've got
Well, imagine if you come in on hey, there's that again, coming in on a boat and all that, the ships come in, and you're going, and Everton Stadium's there, looks amazing, and then next to it, there's like, another big attraction, whatever that may be, hotels and different things, shops or restaurants, bars, whatever. You're seeing that, and then you get into, the liver buildings and all. It just looks amazing. And you're more likely to be drawn to that, which is then drawn to the stadium.
It doesn't even matter though, does it? I mean, that's a byproduct of it. But Liverpool is synonymous with its waterfront. Look at what happened with the Albert Dock, the Royal Albert Dock, and how that's changed over time, and how people are attracted to water. People are attracted to, especially this time of year. Liverpool, I've said this for years, Liverpool's too small. It's too small, and it needs to grow. And Peel said from the very offset, that's why they give Everton that land. It's
the bookend,
it was going to basically just going to be the launch pad for the whole thing, and it's just a big piece of land there waiting for someone to do something. And that the incredible thing about down there is that there's no residential apart from the flats, so you don't have to really worry too much about all the things that come with residential stuff like noise and all that kind of thing. And you've already got the 10 streets. There's plenty of like little bars and clubs appearing, very much like Murphy's, where we'll be holding our patron night in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks today actually. Is it 3 weeks today? Yeah, it is.
There's all that. So if you're adding on to that, and then what that does as well is that creates a walkway from when you're walking down, and you've got all those things. So I think it's if someone who understands real estate and understands the leisure business and all that kind of things,
it's a no-brainer.
For me, it would be a no-brainer. If you've got the kind, don't get me wrong, if you've got the kind of capital, if you've got the kind of capital, and I've got also the access to large hotels, to chains or whatever, you could make a killing on that land. You really could. You really could. You only have to look again. If you look at how Liverpool One transformed the city centre. Do you know what I mean? And completely changed the city centre. And that took mass investment. But once you got the mass investment, the shops came, the companies came, the restaurants came, the people came. Liverpool's city centre is fantastic, but it's still not big enough. And as we've seen with the Baltic, people want different things.
Well, that's what they said. It's gonna spread anyway, and the ground was always going to be the bookend to Liverpool city centre, wasn't it? And it was going to work its way back. Well, you're given the opportunity to people who've got the wealth and the vision. Now these fellas, like you said, these mightn't be the people who actually buy the club, but these people have got the vision, because they come in to have a look, and that's why they'll have gone on the site as well to have a look at the site, and they might be down there going, what's happening here? And people go, not here, and they're like, this could be available as well. Okay. And
right behind it is like the Titanic Hotel, one of the best hotels in Liverpool, but in a almost like in a
quieter area, isn't it?
Quiet area, because where we are right now.
But once you start,
and that knock-on effect.
If you've got the money, you could.
Paul Carroll said the new Isle of Man terminal's being built right next to Bramley Moor as well. So there's another thing that's getting built down there. I've seen that because Mr. Drone does videos for it. So that's getting built right down there.
You're going to have the stadium, aren't you? You're going to have the stadium. You could have this, what we're talking about, Project X next to it, to do whatever you want it. And then you got the ferry terminal.
Well, you've got the Liver building. So you've got the pier head, and then you've got a bit of a walk, like a little bit of a walk over the, and then you've got,
because you got businesses set back.
And then you've got then you've got the terminal and the flats, but those flats, there's been, I think, a couple of things where people want to build like there's
going to be a walkway,
but it's been knocked back so far.
But it'll get.
And that's like a walkway with restaurants, and then that would take you then into this piece of land we're talking about. So
you join the city.
You join it all together.
It could be unbelievable if you had the money.
Oh, it'll happen.
The vision.
Someone will do it.
No, I know, but it'd be great if you had it from that, wouldn't you? So it is dead interesting, and it could be dead exciting. It really could. If the right people got hold of Everton, it could be what we're talking about, the reset. We're talking about whether it's all you need. If this was, put it this way, right? If this was Sheikh Mansour, that's what would happen.
Yeah. Well, we've seen that in Manchester.
He'd have the next thing to it. That'd be transformed.
That whole area in Manchester has been completely transformed. It goes, goes right up. Yeah. You've got the mini stadium, the academy stadium. You've got all
everything, and that's what maybe that's if it is like a Middle Eastern, Saudi or Qatarian group who have got, and they do have the funds. If they've got the vision, which they probably would have, then because that again, it's a pride thing. A lot with them and. It's all about the aesthetic side of it, and the aesthetic side of having a football stadium on the banks of the Royal Blue Mersey, where you can also dictate what goes on next to it and everything else around it. It's a huge opportunity, and these opportunities don't come around very often, and not for a club of Everton's size. They just don't. The other clubs are all locked in. Liverpool, if Liverpool went up for sale, they'd have buyers like that immediately, wouldn't it?
Of course.
Manchester United would have buyers like that. Chelsea did. They're established Premier League clubs, but after them, Everton are a big club. They're a big traditional club that's always in the Premier League, thankfully, and it's got its arse in the air ready. And if Moshiri didn't quite do it for whatever reason, I don't know why. Not for the want of trying, he did put money, but he didn't get organised. He had money like that and just give it the Al Brewster's millions, and that's the problem.
One thing I'm trying to think off the top of my head, and I don't. There are very few football clubs you think about in the Premier League who are owned by one person.
Changed now, hasn't it?
That. When you think about it, that's Moshiri's biggest problem. Is that he used to have obviously a silent partner, but when you look at all those other people, I know. Okay, Arsenal. Okay, that's probably one. I don't know the actual facts of that. But most of the big clubs...
It's if you go through them in your head, what we know off the top of our heads.
A lot of them are... what I'm saying...
Villa have got the Chinese...
Yeah, it's...
couple, haven't they? And they're really wealthy. And you go, Palace are owned by Americans, and aren't they?
It's normally like... What I mean is, it's normally... When you listen to these people, it's normally... There might be one figurehead. There might be a figurehead. So you probably, I imagine Kroenke has got other people around him. I imagine the fella at Chelsea's got more people around him. John Henry, it's obviously, he's just the chairman of it.
FSG,
So, but Moshiri feels like a very singular person. Therefore, it's his wealth. So therefore, it'd be dead easy to go, well, why doesn't Moshiri just do that? And it's like, well, it's his wealth. And he's probably like, well...
But the other fella really should have done it.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, so now, he can't just go, well, and he has been going, well, I'm paying for this, and that's probably one of the reasons why it has, because he said, I want investors, but if a deal's good enough to get him out, he's gonna go, well, if I can, maybe for the quieter life, I'll just keep...
See, I always thought they would, in my way of thinking, and I'm not a businessman, so I could be chatting absolute whammy here. Right, but I would have thought if you're like an owner, and it will come down to pride, but you could still be the majority shareholder. But if it was me, I would want to try and get a group of people together who were all wealthy. Now that might be difficult because I would say to you, come and get involved, and you go, well, what kind of like how much say have I got? And I go, well, not as much as me, and that might be very attractive to people. But
I think that kind of thing is messy. Like, you're more likely to come in with a team.
But that's what Liverpool have.
Team of billionaires. But the difference is, though, they came in as a team of billionaires. They didn't add them one by one. If you come in and you already know from the outside what you're buying into and how it all works. I mean, Liverpool's just a hedge fund. for those people. So that's how hedge funds work. It's not a case of, see, like you've just said there, if he's gone, I want an investor, and that investor comes in and goes, I don't like how this works because I think we'd make more money, then that's where the
conflict.
Yeah, that's where the conflict starts, and ultimately that.
You know what I mean? If there was, if you could get like,
we used to have Paul Gregg, and we used to have. Look what happened there.
Yeah.
They all want power. People with money want power. They're not prepared to sit back.
So then, isn't that going to go against what you're saying then, though, about Mashiri? Because you're saying he's the singular, and everyone else is owned by more than one. So how do you get round that?
You have to come
in at the start.
You have to come in at the start and and know what everyone's title is and job role and who's getting what out of it. I think if you go looking for an investor, they're not someone you know, and you just add them in, and then that thing is going to be like, I don't know these people who run your football club, mate, or our football club now.
They're not very good.
I don't think they're very good. So can we get rid of them? No. Yeah, but I want my say.
So every one of that, to do it, you'd have to go, right, I'm dividing it up.
Whereas, I imagine the fellow who's just come in...
Like a committee.
Well, the fellow who's just come in at Chelsea, he's probably gone, money in, money there, money there. That's your job, and we all make our little bit of money out of it, but we run the club. So if an investor comes in, I imagine they'll go, well, I want to run this part of this. So I think you have to come in together. I can't see how it would work.
Or you'd have to dilute. You'd have to just go dilute your power and go, right, we're forming a new group. And I don't think he'd do this, but I'm saying you're forming a new group. And we all control 20% and we vote on it.
But how do you do? But I think that's very hard to do when it's strangers or people who are just. I don't think that's ever going to work. I think you're better just go. Just give me what I want, mate, and you can have it.
Oh yeah, well, I mean that seems like that's what's going to happen now, doesn't it? The initial talks are apparently where to see what other opportunities and then were on the area.
But then you flip it, and then Mashiri becomes the minority, might keep 10%, let's say, and then he doesn't run the club, but he's not too bothered either about. He's more in it for like, I'll cut the ribbon when the stadium opens kind of thing, or I'll take my dividend or whatever.
But he's still got a little bit of a say in it. He can make his feelings known.
He can make his feelings known. No one has to listen.
Well, what's the point in keeping hold of it just to cut the ribbon?
But that's what I'm saying. You're cutting the ribbon, or you're making money down the line. You might think, well, when the stadium opens, my shares go. Oh,
of course, yeah.
These will come back and want my temp. These will want all of it.
These will want all of it then, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Interesting times.
It is.
Can we buy a player though?
The bit, yeah.
Can we buy a player?
Can we buy some players? Would be great, wouldn't it? Mitch says they're not moves. Baz Jack has been in a continuous season since 1986. Everyone thinks he's dancing.
He's dancing on the street.
John Van says it's not an injection really. It just pays for the shares in the new ground. It's the base position Mashiri has been taken all along. Some people saying it's more smoke and mirrors. No. Tom Murphy says it's preemptive PR, getting people warmed up ahead of time. That Tom, you might be absolutely right. But Jonathan Ricketts makes a good point as well. Says still strange that no one person has come out and denied or agreed with rumours from either party so far. We haven't actually seen any direct quotes from anybody, have we? No,
but you never would in this because it's business. Business doesn't work. You never see direct quotes when someone's buying a footballer, do you?
Yeah.
When there's money involved, then there's legal stuff involved. You just can't come out and say stuff. You can't. You don't comment. Because like anything in life, when there's money involved, it can fall down at any second. And I just don't think what benefit would it make. Everton usually keep that position of no comments unless he's ringing up Jim.
Yeah,
but Everton normally keep that. So, and I think whether this stuff's real or not, hearing like they've been to Finch Farm and they've been to the stadium site, I think that's enough to think there's a little bit in it. But then it can be either way, can't it? It's like
Yeah.
a lot of things in life, you know. You might be thinking, oh, this is nice, I'm going to have a little look at it. You're
Yeah,
the buyer, and the seller might be thinking, go and have a little look at it. They might decide they only want this, or they might decide they want more. Or you know, it's like, basically it's, if you're buying a car, you go and look at the car, don't you?
Course,
Doesn't mean you're going to buy it, but you're going to look at it.
No, but I don't keep saying every day I'm going to buy it though either to other people, but you never know. Of Key VVO says the Everton Disney Springs. Yeah, that's what I've got in mind. In my head, like a Disney Springs, but for Everton. But it could just be like a Disney Springs with an Everton presence there, couldn't it? So that you're not alienating people either. You're bringing as many, because at the end of the day, you want anyone there, whether they're Evertonians or not. On that, if you were doing it on the next bit, 100%. Because they're paying the money, and that money's 100%. Going back
if you
in,
do build something there,
the Everton stuff's next door.
The Everton stuff's next door. This is the non-Everton stuff. This is the, you know, this is why you have like the likes of City Walks, you know, next to two Universal Parks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you have it, and it's filled with franchise restaurants. Well, why'd you do that? Because you know you're going to get thousands of people.
Because people who aren't even going to theme parks are going into this.
This is modern life. This is the way. This is where there's people, there's money. It's of course there is. If you're going anywhere. It's why when you go in an airport they charge you extortionate prices, and you're happy to hand it over because you're in a place where you're like, it's happy time, you're on holiday. When you go, it's the same. You've got to have that tiered stuff, though. You've got to have, and this is where Goodison is so lacking. You've got to give me, as a person who goes in the Gladys, the opportunity to go to a reasonably priced bar or fast food place or whatever. Yeah. But then the fella who goes in the £10,000 box, you've got to give him his experience, what he wants.
Yeah, it's all different.
You've got to be able to have though, and then it's why you can go to the city centre right now and walk into a dive pub and then, you know, somewhere else there'll be something for people who've got money to spend. You've got to cater to everybody, and I think that's where Goodison is missing. Not a trick, but that's where Goodison is right now. We can't cater to those people with money, but we also struggle in a way to cater to the people in the below them as well. So,
well, you've got to look at everything, haven't you?
Yeah,
you've got to look at it all. You've got to cater to everybody. You've got to take money off everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And we've said
it's the way to say it. People have got money in the pocket. And us as Evertonians, if we've got, see, it's a thingy, isn't it? It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? If you create something for us to spend, we would rather spend money that will go back into the football club.
100%.
So therefore, further down the line, the football club can go, see that lovely shiny centre forward that scores goals, we've got some money now. And all us as fans that go, take me money, right? But if the football club are charging a lot of money for rubbish products, and it's limited and all that, and I know, listen, I'm not having a go with them because Goodison is what it is, but I mean going forward, if you can give us more stuff to spend our money, people are more likely to save that money and spend it at the weekend and go, I'm happy to spend, I'm going to spend it anyway, I'd rather spend it with Everton because that money goes back into my football club and we get a better product at the end of the day.
Say it all the time.
That's all it is.
This is what the big clubs do. The football is for a lot of people, you know, obviously it's a very expensive venture, but a lot of people sort of know what they're buying into. It's why we have the phenomenon of the day tripper, the person who goes to Liverpool or Arsenal or Manchester United or whatever, Chelsea, once a season. You know, they go there and they experience it and they walk away like they've been to town shopping. You know, they go in the huge shop, you know, Liverpool have, and they make sure they buy this and that and the other, because can't say this hand on heart, I imagine Liverpool has certain things in their shop that are in-shop exclusives and things like that. It's why Liverpool, on the last game of the home season, always have the home kit out in the shop. Yeah. You know, and this is why I hate it when people go, grown men kicking off about when the Everton kits. Yeah, because it's fucking awful business sense. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what Hummel say. Liverpool have their kit in the shop for the last game of the season. So all those day trippers walk away, and Liverpool go, see that money? It just came directly to us. It didn't go to Mike Ashley or this or that or the other. It went straight to us, and now our kids have got the kits, and we can have them on tomorrow when they go to Sunday League or footy practice or whatever. That's what clever businesses do. They go, oh, we can, you know, you're going for a pint before the game. You're going come for our pint, come for our pie. You know, we'll give you this. You know, go to. I remember this is my first experience of going to a sporting event in America. It was WrestleMania. I'm walking around the concourse, and I could have got. There was like a fella carving beef.
Oh, mate!
And all, you know, you know what I mean? It's like you've got to give people what they.
First time I went to watch Orlando City, and it was when they were at the Citrus Bowl, so there was 60,000. It was like 40,000, whatever. But walked in, and I just couldn't believe that inside there was about 12 restaurants just in the concourse. And they weren't, don't get me wrong, they weren't sit-down restaurants. They was just like bars. But there was just like Chinese food. There was there was like, you know, pulled pork. There was Mexican stuff. And it was just right the way that. And I was like, oh my God, this is mad. You could just get whatever you wanted.
In Dusseldorf, there was a giant pick and mix.
No, there was in Dusseldorf. And a bar. And its own little bar within. You could get beer anyway, but there was a bar that you went into, you had music on. It was mad. But, and that's hopefully
that's what we're missing now, isn't it? That's what we're missing.
There's a lot of things. Make sure you give the stream a like. It really helps the channel. Thank you if you're watching. Let me just see if there's anything here. Okay. Jacob says, lads, if we do appoint Kenyon, does this mean we can spend money this transfer window? No, mate. Someone said right at the very start of it, they could pledge 100 billion to spend on players. It won't actually make any difference right now. But yeah, there you go. Where are we here? Brian says, make us great again, Kenyon and co, or at least professional. Meister says, if this proposed takeover goes through, can you see in any way Ken Wright, Denise Barrett, Baxendale and co staying at the club? It's time to go. These frauds need to leave immediately. Be done with sentimentality and FC cozy. I think if anyone comes in now, like a consortium or a new group, I think they'd want to put their own board in anyway. I think, and especially if it's like an American group like that, they tend to know. They tend to want to use their own people. And most people would do that, wouldn't they? Andy says they could commit 100 billion, but we're not allowed to spend it because of FFP. Correct. Not so purple. He said, Googled the meaning of the word Blair last night, and a picture of Ali the Copite popped up. There you go. Maya says, if there is a takeover, do you think Ken Knight will talk himself into remaining as chairman? No, I don't think he could, because he doesn't own the club now, does he? So how would that happen? I think, to be honest, I honestly think whoever comes in will just want their own people in. I think that's just the way it is now. Well, he will do that. Please. I think they will do. No, I think anyone like these, Kenyon will be. Let's be honest. If it is these, Kenyon will run the club for a year, and he might be then look and go right. He's the next one, unless he goes to one of the sons. Yeah, you take over. But yeah, exactly. JR. Yeah. Tim says, can't understand why newspapers reports say the club sale will mean we get a load of money to spend on transfers this summer. It's like they don't know how FFP Premier League finance rules work. Bugs the crap out of me. That's the problem, isn't it? It's the headline. It's the headline. It's the headline, isn't it? I think there's a rule you can gift a certain amount of money, but it's not a lot. It's like when I say it's like 30 million or something. So what it might do, because it's in a different year as well, a different financial year, I'd need John to clarify this, but he has kind of said this to us a couple of times. They may be able to free up a little bit more room to do something with, but it's certainly not going to be like there's 200 million off you, because you can't. The rules are we know where we are. We know where we are. Everton have got 6 days left of this financial year. Now, if you read between the lines of what people have been saying, that means Everton needs to sell someone by midnight next Thursday. Really, if we're to loosen the the grip that the Premier League have got on us right now, we've basically got 6 days to sell Richarlison, or Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Jordan, or anyone we could sell. And clubs, like I think John alluded to it yesterday, clubs, instead of it being 23.59 on September 1st or August 31st, it might actually be Thursday, where clubs go, oh, you need a sale, do you? Like, well, we'll give you that for him. And Everton might look. I spoke to Andy last night, the Piv, and he was like, we were just talking about Richarlison and all that, and he was going, I said, like, I wouldn't sell him for less than 60 million. Said I just wouldn't. And he said, yeah, but would you, if I offered you like 55 million, you'd turn me down because you want 60? And I was like, yeah. And he went, but what if that impacted the rest of your transfer plans for the rest of the summer? And it is that thing of going, oh, we want.
That's where the add-ins come in, don't they?
Well, you've got to try to make it more
That's where the
appealing for everybody having you to do it. But I don't know. We'll just see. Matthew Barry says, I think the new consortium will come with new sponsorship, and that's what will help us with investing in the squad. This is the quickest and easiest way outside of.
But how long does that take to come to effect, though?
Well, I guess if it was the new financial year, and they come in and said, say like this wouldn't happen, but say they completed in 2 weeks. I wonder if they say we've got 3 new, bit like what Liverpool did with Warrior, which wasn't even a thing.
Hey, Kenyon sheds,
yeah, exactly.
JR glasses, and Robert Thingo's
Minnesota construction company wants a player.
Gold, lots of gold.
And we're going to sponsor Goodison for 25 million a season, whatever. They may go, we've got these 3 sponsorship deals, and as long as they are market like level, that could be. It's only no different than Everton announcing yesterday Christopher Ward as the watch partner. So if they come in and went, I don't know, stadium naming rights, say like they go, well, the average naming rights are 15 million a season. Yeah. Right, we're naming Goodison Steve for 2 seasons.
No, where you going? Going to Steve.
Going to Steve Park for 2 seasons. Then that's what it is, and we get that money. There you can say, no, you can't, because they go, well, we can because we've sold the rights to it. Yeah. And they could do little things like that, and it might free up a bit of money, like Mathew said, and then they've got kind of till next June, then haven't they, to extrapolate that money and go.
Blue Pyro Limited.
Exactly, it could be anything, couldn't it? It could literally be anything, as long as you can. You think the thing what Newcastle were going to try and do was go, we've got a new shirt sponsor for 300 million, and the Premier League were like, no one will pay that for your shirt. Yeah. Where City kind of got away with it, then they're gone them days. But there will be things Newcastle can do this summer that'll go, well, this, and if they get multiple partners coming in with the money, then they can spend another 100 million if they got 10 million pound sponsors this summer, couldn't they? And Everton could do similar, I guess, if these fellas come in, and maybe that might be one way. Yeah. It loosens.
Listen, I would imagine. I would imagine,
time,
and I'm not saying this with any kind of evidence, knowledge, or anything about it, but you'd like to think if someone's coming to buy Everton, that they will be fully aware of the FFP
of course,
position,
of course,
and be looking for solutions straight away. And you're right, they might come in and go, over the course of a month, go, is this sponsored, and that helps us.
Gives us a bit of room, and then if you're then, what you would like to hope then was that by doing that, you're then able to support Lampard, but support Thelwell and support the structures that are in place. And if Everton did do that, then you may well see Everton actually moving forward. If we carry on going, I want to give us some money and we're not learning them, and we're going Harry Winks and not just Harry Winks, whatever, but if you were getting others, Jesse Lingard, get him and get him. Like
you've just got the worst transfer list in the world.
That's what I'm saying. Everton, it's not mine. You know what my transfer list is. It ain't them, either of them. But I'm saying, doing it that way, with a plan, Everton might actually, for once, be able to move forward. A couple of people are calling Goodison Steve.
I think it's amazing.
I mean, Steve Evans has just gone, Steve. That's how you could call it. That's exactly how you could call it.
Get all the Steves in the world to sponsor it.
Not all of them. That'd be difficult. How much, though?
£1 each.
For all the Steves.
All the Steves. How much money do you reckon?
How would we do it though?
I don't. Just a shout out to all the Steves.
That's what they
This is the home of the Steve. How much money do you think all the Steves could raise?
I don't know, because I don't know
how many Steves are there in the world.
Steves are.
And can we? And would that translate to, like, say, Sevi? Is Sevi Spanish for Steve?
No.
Is it?
No. Severiano. It's not Steve, is
Why
it?
isn't it Stephen?
Because it isn't.
Why? You're checking it.
Oh, I'm going to look, because I've never ever...
I'm in his head.
I'm in his head.
I'm in his head.
Okay.
I'm in his head.
Esteban. It's Steve.
Steve, okay. Well, it's the Esteban Arena in Spain, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've put a little bit of a sexy twist on it.
There you go. There you go. Apparently, Esteban.
What's Barry in Irish? What was that name? I can't remember. Finbar, that was it. That's tremendous.
What's Barry in Spanish? I don't know now. What the hell's happening here? This is such a dark
This is a boss rabbit hole, this.
Babla?
Babla? Babla? Alright, Babla, lad.
That's amazing.
Oh.
Depends if it's just Barry. If it's... What?
Apparently, Ned or Mathew...
No, Spanish. This one says Barry in Spanish.
Okay.
Barry.
Mathew with one T in every language other than English is Hobbit.
There you go. There you go. But Big Steve Land does like The Hobbit. It was his favourite book.
Yeah.
It was his favourite book.
I do love the fact that Ned's dad was so drunk when he went to name him that he forgot how to spell Mathew.
Bainey says, just listen back to that Red On Club call. It's brilliant TV. Baz was great, and the lad totally argued and agreed and just wouldn't shut up. Bloody brilliant. He was mad, Bainey, wasn't he? Fair play, stuck to his point, but when he wouldn't let me explain my points, he had to get swerved. Not so Perbalaki says, Ped, shame you're off the ale at the moment, or I'd have sent you a case.
Mate,
listen.
Of Madley?
Yeah.
Because of the
to celebrate because the Tories.
I've already read it. Listen.
You can still send
I'm not permanently off the ale. I'm off the ale before we go to America because I'm trying to cut that. I mean, after this morning, I felt rough as anything after the bike rides.
Bike riding crazy. You can still send it because I would have one bottle of it.
Yeah, you can still send the Madley. Feel happy to send the Madley. There's no issues. I'll drink it once I'm back on the ale. There's no problem with that at all.
Jack says thoughts on Branko van den Boomen from Toulouse. He was mentioned in James Lawrence's Allcott's new Everton video. Yeah, James. I've spoke to James. He's threw a few in, isn't he? James just threw a few names out there. Barry says, afternoon fellas, looking forward to the patron night, just listening while I'm stuck on the M6. Oh mate, hopefully he won't be stuck there for too long. Mathew says perhaps Kenyon is courting Evertonians to try and get everyone on side behind the new ownership. Quite possibly, Mathew. It might be just the PR getting ahead of the actual sale, so that people are fully up to speed with it. People know who they are, that they're gonna get behind them. That could be what it is. I don't know. Bainey also says takeover starting to sound a bit more convincing. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Bill and Denise there. Mathew says the Premier League will be going the way of streaming service as soon as the current TV deal is done. The infrastructure and bandwidth is now available. Apple and MLS have shown the way. American buyers that can't get into NFL, baseball or the basketball will see the revenue potential in not just a stadium but also a subscription service that anyone in the world can access. Sky and BT will be left to fight over the EFL and European competitions. That's certainly how it seems, doesn't it? That it could be going that way.
It should be going that way. It
should
be going that way.
It's
there. Where they're it's where what's interesting about the MLS one is it isn't a fully owned MLS thing, is it? It's obviously got a third party, which is Apple, and that I would suspect would be perfect for Premier League, but it's where its difference is if the Premier League wholly owned it all, an app, then obviously they'd have to put money into all that. If they worked with Apple, Amazon, Netflix, then obviously the technology's already there. But if it's, say, Apple, you know, they're going to take a big chunk of the finances. So whether that could be a halfway house to going full in, that could just be the tip. going in with somebody who's already got the platform and it's fully integrated with a lot of, you know, saying any of the streaming services now you can get via your TV without an issue.
Yeah.
And they have to at some point get away from this business model that they got now. It's not going anywhere. Like it's that's the past. Streaming services are the present and the future. Cutting the cord, you know, people. The more as we go on in time, the more and more networks are going to be dwindling or are going to start bringing their own streaming service out, because for them it just makes more sense. You can put an app on a telly rather than having all the other stuff. It just makes more sense. So I think to go halfway in with a streaming service would make perfect sense. Use the technology that they've already set up, but then in that meantime, whether it be 3, 6, 9 years, start creating your own. But that's not easy, by the way. But as we go further in time, it will get easier, because the technology, like anything in the world, will become less complicated. You know, and you'll see. I think what you'll start seeing as well is you'll see, and I think we already got this. I think in some countries in South America, the Premier League is on Disney Plus.
Is it? Yeah,
because it's on ESPN.
Yeah.
But it's on Disney Plus, and you might get you might start getting those shortcuts. It's whether the Premier League feel, and this is where you've got to have the right people. It's whether the Premier League feel it's as accessible to people all over the world being on a streaming site. They might feel like there might be places. I don't want to say anything.
But places where you can't,
where the internet connectivity mightn't be as good, and it's on terrestrial TV, and they're happy to buy the rights. Now, again, that's all about technology. You've got these things like Elon Musk said he's going to put satellites up that give localized internet. I think Facebook have said similar, because of course for people like that, it makes perfect sense. If you're Facebook and there's areas of the world that can't get on the internet, then you give them the internet for free and they go on. And it might be that's where, when all that stuff starts coming out, then it's going to be easier, because they want 100% coverage, and at the moment the Premier League have 100% coverage, so they're going to have to feel like that's there for them. So that'll happen in the next few years.
Bryn Roberts says 1.3 million Steves in the world. Just googled it.
1.3 million. That's not enough money then, is it?
No. I think there could be more than that, but you just never ever know, do you? You never ever know. I'm going to see. Glenn on the super chat said, this is one for Ned. What's the difference between a lizard and a salamander?
Oh God, why?
Where is he? Oh, he's dead. Can't see him.
You alive, Ned?
What's the difference between a lizard and a salamander?
Have you got your mic on?
Come on.
You got your mic on?
Get your mic on and answer, Glenn.
Well, salamanders are moist, and they have different numbers of fingers on each legs, or different numbers of toes on each feet. Lizards just have all the same. Lizards have 5 on each leg, or hands, or whatever, feet. And lizards aren't moist, they're dry and scaly.
I did not expect to hear lizards are not moist.
No.
On this,
just leave it there.
On this video.
Leave it there. Stephen Evans says, I don't get to go to the game much anymore due to finances, sadly. I stream illegally, but I pay a small fee for a solid stream. It's not going to change my ability to go to the game. Exactly.
We've said this a million times. We said this last week. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to watch a League 1, League 2 non-league team. There'll be plenty of people out there, who will be. I'm not, and I think there's more people like me than there are who want to go and watch teams. And I think there's also people now who will go and watch their team because of the way football is and because of the kick-off times. More people now who support their local sides are going to go and watch their local sides than go, I'm going to go to the pub and watch Manchester United. No. That world does not exist.
No.
And this is, again, these people live in the past.
Yeah.
I want to be able to watch my team when my team's playing. If it's away, I shouldn't be scrambling around. We were talking about last week. We were saying to John Blaine, obviously goes every away game. How many people, Evertonians, go to every away game during the season? And we probably reckon it's about 5,000 all in, roughly, you'd say. So that leaves straight away that leaves 32,000 Evertonians who can't watch an away game, who go to home games, plus all the other people who want to watch. It's mental. It's backwards thinking, complete old-fashioned nonsense. And that's where an app that has every game on would be amazing. And it wouldn't and also that wouldn't devalue the games, either. It wouldn't devalue the games. And if it's a Premier League thing or a Premier League thing on another streaming site, that's not giving Manchester United an advantage. It's not giving Liverpool an advantage that they can sell. The rights have got to be sold in a block. They have to be. You can't have a situation where those top clubs can ask for more money, because it'll just, the whole thing will get even more out of hand. So control the Premier League, control the narrative, go to the governments and go, do you know how much money we bring into this country, into the economy, by people going to games? Every game in this country, bar Burnley, is sold out. And that's what you do, don't you?
Yeah, that's how you do it, yeah. Darkheart says 130 likes, 708 people watching, and he's fuming with that. So what can you do? Can't force people to click the button, even though it takes a sec. Boxy says, will NFL be played at our new stadium?
No,
don't
No,
say.
I wouldn't imagine. The NFL is very London-centric, isn't it? And I think Tottenham will get an exclusive deal with them soon enough, and they'll probably get a team soon enough. There's a lot of stadiums I imagine can host NFL, but there's certain requirements. Like the changing rooms have got to.
They've got to be. Yeah, if you look at Spurs,
Tottenham have got two different changing rooms. They've got an NFL changing room and a Tottenham.
If you watch that all or nothing, you see how mad it is. Peter Finn says, I don't know why you guys get stick from people. You're one of the best fan channels. People, other fan channels are thick as pig shit. You guys do the statistical side of football and don't use people's emotions for entertainment. I think we don't get
my emotions.
I don't think we get a lot
my
of
emotions.
Stick. People generally don't like things, do they? They like to moan about the Bullens. If you from the Bullens are getting it now because they're going on Patreon, people are ripping them and all that. People don't like if you have to pay for stuff, and people will always have a different opinion. But everything we do is going up and up and up. So if people don't like it, that's fine. No one's saying you like everything, are you? So there you go. Paul says needs to be a museum with Dr. David France's collection down in the dock. How is he, by the way? You spoke to him lately?
I haven't spoken to him for ages.
Oh, no. Need to speak to him. Robert says, when do we find out the results for the fans forum? I don't know. It shut last night, didn't it? So I don't. Maybe they'll be notified today. If the well, it depends. I don't know how long.
Take the weekend.
I don't know how long it takes to do the votes. To be honest with you, mate, but I imagine you probably know maybe over the weekend or maybe early next week.
Yeah, I'll ask people who were in it.
Bainey says with big deals that are usually non-disclosure agreements, they leak a little to get news cycle going. They will never confirm or deny if there's a deal in the making, but more often than not, if there's nothing to it, then they do deny it. Robert Oldfield said Gerrard wouldn't sponsor us, so there's one Steve gone in it. He's not going to sponsor us, is he?
No,
he's not, is he?
You might be, sometimes you get sometimes people think something's a good investment.
It's an investment, so we'll just do it. Okay. Not so purple. He says Everton Twitter summer 1986. Don't shoot the messenger, but I hear Everton are in for Man City veteran Paul Power. He's nearly 33.
I've seen it. I've seen this on
Kendall
Twitter. Right?
Got a clue
I've
what
seen
he's
this
doing.
on Twitter. Yeah, what you're sort of forgetting there is that we had a boss team. And all it was adding but what it was adding a boss bit of experience to the team. That's when I've seen that this week, and that's like, to me, that's like going, yeah, but that's like when Liverpool brought James Milner in, or good, or when Manchester United brought more experience. Like, I get what you're saying, but it's nonsense because our team was boss, so therefore, and Kendall also had a boss track record. And so the two things don't feel the same to me.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's just me.
And Max says football is a television product these days. It should be at the forefront of streaming technology. So backwards that we still adhere to Sky 1980s business model in this country.
Let me just say one more thing on this, right? It baffles me. This is what baffles me. It baffles me that a company like the Premier League is wholly at the mercy of people signing up for something they don't want to pay for just so they can watch football. That to me doesn't make any sense. I have to pay a fee and then pay another fee on top of it
to watch the football.
To watch the football.
Instead
That to me doesn't make any sense. That to me, that's the Premier League going, oh, well, we're just happy to take your money off. Which want your money? Which want your money? Yeah, but they could get more money by giving. This is the whole thing about streaming. This is the whole thing about the world now. Is that if I want to watch something, whether it be on a YouTube channel or a TV program or a genre of TV programs, I can go and sign up for that one thing. Sky turn around and go, well, you can watch Now TV or whatever. Well, Now TV costs a fortune. It costs a fortune, and it's like a $5 a weekend or something like that, or something silly. It works out even more silly. And they'll go, yeah, and you get the golf, and you get F1, and it's like, I don't want golf. I don't want F1.
Yeah.
I don't want the NFL. I don't want this. I don't want that. I just want the Premier League. Just give me what I want. That's the era we live in now. We live in an era where if I order something online and it isn't with me the following day, I kick off about it, because that's what our expectations are now. I want it now. I don't want anything else. I don't want any fluff. I don't want anything. I want my footy. And I
want it now. That's it, yeah. Jacob says smash the like button now. Is right, Jacob. Should be above 200, really, shouldn't it? Lazy, that.
Bainey says, dress code for the 8th. Mrs. told me to ask, lol.
Nothing. I mean, not nothing, as in don't come naked.
It's a gown and also tuxedos for the gentlemen. Mate, if it's hot, wear shorts.
Yeah, there isn't one, mate. Yeah. There isn't one. Just come like as if you're going for a casual drink.
Be washed.
Yeah, that's it.
We have to reiterate that's a Ned.
That's it. Dennis Qualude. Dennis, I've said this loads of times. Dennis
can't be Quaalude.
Qualude.
You've watched The Wolf of Wall Street. You know what a Quaalude is.
Dennis Q, big DQ on the super chat.
Get off the phone.
Hey Baz and Fed, hope you're doing okay. Do you know how big a role Usmanov played in the background over the last 6 years? Well,
yeah, because he put money into the club via USM, didn't he?
The money was there with USM. I'm quite sure there was lots of stuff. It's there in plain sight, really, isn't it? If you look around, there's been enough stories.
This for 6 years.
Yeah, exactly. It's there, and when you talk about people who go, "Oh yeah, I met him." Oh, hang on. Carlo basically said he went to his boat, had meetings with him over transfers, went to Germany to speak to him. So he was quite clearly involved. And he must have thought the best way for him to be involved without being involved was to not say he was involved. Because if he would have been the owner when obviously all this kicked off, Everton would have been in a much worse position, I think, now, wouldn't he?
It made sense for him never to be the owner either.
Yeah.
Because if we ever needed that extra investment, he could have come in and gone, oh, I'm investing.
Martin says, I love your show, guys. Marty from Charleston, South Carolina. Please explain a little on why City and others can spend so much on players and we can't.
Because they make money.
Yeah.
Right.
We basically don't make money.
This is the only thing you need to know, right, about football right now is you can only spend what you earn, right? But it's in multiples. So it's like, as long as you are making money, there's all these factors in FFP which allow you to multiply that money. We don't make money, so therefore that money only comes from one place, the owner, and that's what the Premier League and UEFA don't want. They don't want one person being able to go, here's some money, here's some money, here's some money, because they think one day that man might walk away and go, I'm taking my money with you, and you've got a club then which doesn't make money. And that's the top and bottom of it. Your football club is supposed to be able to stand on its own two legs without the need of an owner, and ours can't. And our club simply loses too much money every single year without the owner. Because this is where I find it absolutely incredible when people back the people who run our club. I find it absolutely incredible, because if you took the owner's money away, our club would be, for years and years and years, it relied on the TV money. and that was before FFP. And then when FFP came in, that was it. That was it. That cut that little bit of margin away, and now you have to make money. And if you can't make money, you can't spend money, and that's solely what it is. So the people who run our club have to start making money, and that's why I'll sit here every day and I'll criticise the owners of our football club, because I think personally they are appalling. But that's just my opinion.
Right, Greg Ball says $19.99 a month online TV app for the UK and technically advanced areas of the world. Sell the rights the way they do now for other areas will bring much more revenue than the current TV deals.
Yeah, it would. Simon Jordan did all the numbers.
No, remember, yeah. Right, race through these now. Ovkey says it's crazy you can buy a season ticket and pay three separate TV packages and still have to miss a third of the season.
Exactly.
Yet my mate in Toronto gets it all for a tenner.
Yeah.
A month.
Yeah, exactly.
Kevin Heavy Baz, you been on the sunbed? Never in my life, mate. I've just been on holiday in Lanzarote 2 weeks ago, though, for a week. Steve Lee says, hey lads, hope you've been well. I've been on holiday the past 2 weeks in Mallorca. What have I missed? Nothing, mate. Been quiet. Jacob says, lads, if we don't sell Richie or Dom, that means you still have 70 million to spend, because we've offered Matheus Nunes 45 million and Moise Keane. No, we haven't offered 45 million for Matheus Nunes, though, and Moise Keane will be factored in somewhere else. Jacob also says, Baz, when you go on the overlap, do you get nervous speaking to Neville and Keane? Never, mate, because I know I'm confident enough in my own knowledge of my football club and my knowledge of football that no, I don't. Never, ever. Never. Anfield Red says PSG is sponsored by some state-owned companies from Qatar.
Yeah, but also Liverpool used to be, the kit was made by Warrior. Yeah, do a little bit of digging on Warrior. Take it about 5 minutes to realise what that all was about.
But that's it, though, isn't it? It's about being creative, isn't it? That's it. Danny says the Netflix of football is what's needed. Yeah, absolutely. Greg says the Zone have the rights in Canada. All games available online or through the app.
They don't.
I've had that, but it's gone now, isn't it? It's finished. They just lost the rights.
But they have got them in Spain.
Fubo have now got the Zone's rights, I think, haven't they?
Yeah,
Fubo
Premier League.
TV
Yeah.
took the Premier League off.
So that'll all be on an app.
Yeah, be an app, won't it?
And
so it's there. It's crazy that, like you say, we're in this country, we can't watch it. Yeah. But if you're somewhere else, you can watch it.
Or you should get a VPN.
It's mad. It's absolutely mad. Right. It's rolling 3 years. Liam says FFP over a 3-year period. Do either of you know when the 3 years starts? Well, it's just rolling. So 1 year drops off and the next one starts.
It rolls, because otherwise it's like if you didn't do it like that, it would be like a average speed camera, wouldn't it? You know, it means you've got to behave every year. And maybe 1 year, you can go a little bit better, but the next year you're going to have to. But ours are so badly in the toilet that we are having to be ultra careful
all the time. Lads, you watch Love Island, says Jacob. No, never watched a second of it.
Stick
don't
pins
okay
in my urethra.
Might be the final one. If you could get 2 Premier League loans this year, who would you get? Realistic answers.
Conor Gallagher.
Belter.
And I don't know, someone else.
Brozier. Get the two. Right, thank you very much. Thanks for the likes.
It's not needed.
Jota. Yeah. Subscribe if you haven't. And we are going. Have a great weekend. Take it easy.
Bye.